I'm taking an Uber. First, she says, okay, are you sank? Which is the number one thing that people say, of course, unless they, and some Uber drivers do watch the show, and so they'll say jank, and I'm like, oh, it's a Young Turks viewer, right? And then we got into a conversation about my name, right? And I said, no, it's pronounced, this is pronounced like a J in Turkish, it's pronounced jank. She's like, jank. Jank. That's so funny.
Why?
She just thought it was like the funniest thing. And every time I said or she said jank, she'd laugh again.
She must have partook in the devil's lettuce or something.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then she had a Persian boyfriend, and I don't remember the joke, but his name kind of sounded like something else, and I made a joke about it using his name, and she's like, "Oh, that's good." She's like, "That's tomorrow's joke. I'm gonna use that joke. That is tomorrow's joke, jank." So I found that amusing. Two, I was kind of proud that I got tomorrow's joke. But this is not the interesting part of the story. That's just a fun prelude. It's just appetizers, meze, if you will, tapas. And then we're talking about her and where she grew up and yada yada. And she grew up in in a tough area of LA, okay? And but she, now this is gonna sound really bad, but she's the one who said it, so don't she does not have the accent normally associated with that neighborhood, okay?
Okay.
And she says people notice that and they ask her about it, etc. She's like, because I came from a good family, and we were just. I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's cool. So we started talking about it a little bit. She's like, look, we were just in a little bit better shape than the rest of the neighborhood, that's all, right? I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And she's like, my mom insisted upon it, and her mom was a little bit religious, and that happens a lot. Same story as Will Smith's from a couple of days ago in the post game. And then she said, my mom was I said, what'd they do? What did your parents do? My mom was a teacher, and my dad was a drug dealer.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, is it funny like the name Jank? Right?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm not kidding. I'm like a pharmacist or, no, she's like a drug dealer. And I was like, okay, that's kind of awesome. Like at first I was trying to see if she was like, oh, is that what you think my dad is gonna do or something? And I'm like, you're right. I'm like, no, in fact, I'm totally fucking shocked that you just said that, right? No, she was serious. And she's like, and we then got into like a really great conversation about that's what was available in the neighborhood, right? And so that was a good paying job, and he wanted to provide for his family, and so he took the high paying job that was available because he wanted to be successful and provide for us, and he did. And then my mom and he was there too, of course, but taught us how to do right, and went to college. We went to college and yada yada. And I'm like, oh, did he ever get caught? Nope, never got caught. And then he retired.
Wow.
Okay.
That is the most positive drug dealing story I've ever heard of.
I know, right? And so look, and I've talked about this in the show in the past. That is so real and so true that like we as a society we judge these drug dealers and for sometimes obviously for good reason when there's violence involved, yada yada, right? But when you dive into why they do it, it's like when I ask people, why do you watch the Young Turks, and they're millennials, and they go, what else would I watch, right? And when you say like, why did you do drug dealing in the middle of Baltimore? Somebody says, what else would I do? They literally like, A, don't have any other opportunities, B, don't realize that there might be opportunities out there because it's not in the thing. And then, so we created these environments where we made drugs illegal, but we made people want to buy them. And it's not just the folks that live in those neighborhoods. People drive into the neighborhoods to buy them. White folks come in to buy the drugs, etc. And then you created this economic opportunity where none existed before. And then you blame people for taking that economic opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? And when it's like the only economic opportunity around for not most people, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? In those circumstances. So I like that she was flippant about it. Like she's like, yeah, it is what it is, and that was it, and that's what we did.
Wow.